brothers and sisters. This is Sister Mary. Our topic today is separated warriors. It is a reading taken from First Chronicles chapter 12, verses 8 through 15. Some Gadites joined David at the stronghold in the wilderness, mighty men of valor, men trained for battle, who could handle shield and spear, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and were as swift as gazelles on the mountains. Ezer the first, Obadiah the second, Eliab the third, Mishmannah the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attiah the sixth, Eliel the seventh, Johanna the eighth, Elzabad the ninth, Jeremiah the 10th, and Bashbaniah the 11th. These were from the sons of Gad, captains of the army. The least was over 100, and the greatest was over 1,000. These are the ones who crossed the Jordan in the first month, when it had overflowed all its banks, and they put to flight all those in the valleys to the east and to the west. These 11 Gadites espoused the cause of David when he was in his very worst condition. They left the ease and comfort, the honors and the emoluments of their homes to associate themselves with him when he was an outlaw under the ban of society. They seem to have been captains of the militia of their tribes, but they separated themselves from their commands over their tribes, separated themselves from their brethren and their kinfolk. Dear friend, in these times it is most important that everyone who is a Christian should understand that he must separate himself from the world. You cannot serve Christ and the world too. We must separate ourselves by divine grace unto Christ. The nearer you get to the person of the Lord, the more you will catch his spirit. We will begin and continue in 1 Chronicles chapter 11. Then all Israel came together to David at Hebron, saying, Indeed, we are your bone and your flesh. Also in time past, even when Saul was king, you were the one who led Israel out and brought them in. And the Lord your God said to you, You shall shepherd my people Israel, and be ruler over my people Israel. Therefore all elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and David made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king over Israel, according to the word of the Lord by Samuel. And David and all Israel went to Jerusalem, which is Jebus, where the Jebusites were the inhabitants of the land. But the inhabitants of Jebus said to David, You shall not come in here. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. Now David said, Whoever attacks the Jebusites first shall be chief and captain. And Joab the son of Zeruiah went up first and became chief. Then David dwelt in the stronghold. Therefore they called it the city of David. And he built the city around it, from the Milo to the surrounding area. Joab repaired the rest of the city. So David went on and became great, and the Lord of hosts was with him. Now these were the heads of the mighty men whom David had, who strengthened themselves with him in his kingdom with all Israel, to make him king according to the word of the Lord concerning Israel. And this is the number of the mighty men whom David had. Jehoshaphat the son of Hashmonite, chief of the captains, he had lifted up his spear against 300, killed by him at one time. After him, Eleazar the son of Dodo, and the Ahohite, who was one of the 3 mighty men. He was with David at Pasdammim. Now there were the Philistines that were gathered for battle, and there was a piece of ground full of barley. So the people fled from the Philistines, but they stationed themselves in the middle of that field, defended it, and killed the Philistines. So the Lord brought about a great victory. Now 3 of the 30 chief men went down to the rock of David, into the cave of Adullam, and the army of the Philistines encamped in the valley of Rephaim. David was then in the stronghold, and the garrison of the Philistines was then in Bethlehem. Bethlehem. And David said with longing, "Oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate." So the three broke through the camp of the Philistines and drew water from the well of Bethlehem, that was by the gate, and took it and brought it to David. Nevertheless, David would not drink it, but poured it out to the Lord. And he said, "Far be it from me, O my God, that I should do this. Shall I drink the blood of these men who have put their lives in jeopardy? For at the risk of their lives they brought it." Therefore he would not drink it. These things were done by three mighty men. Abishai, the brother of Joab, who was chief of another three. He had lifted up his spear against 300 men, killed them, and won a name among these three. Of the three, he was more honored than the other two men. Therefore he became their captain. However, he did not attain to the first three. Benaiah was the son of Joadiah, the son of a valiant man from Kabzeel, who had done many deeds. He had killed 2 lion-like heroes of Moab. He also had gone down and killed a lion in the midst of a pit on a snowy day, and he killed an Egyptian, a man of great height, 5 cubits tall. In the Egyptian's hand there was a sphere like a weaver's beam, and he went down to him with a staff, wrestled the sphere out of the Egyptian's hand, and killed him with his own sphere. These things Benaiah, the son of Joadiah, did, and won a name among 3 mighty men. Indeed, he was more honored than the 30, but he did not attain to the first 3, and David appointed him over his guard. Now verses 26 through 47. Also the mighty warriors were, and it just continues to list them. Chapter 12 of 1 Chronicles. Now these were the men who came to David at Ziklag, which he was still a fugitive, and while he was still a fugitive from Saul the son of Kish. And they were among the mighty men helping in the war, armed with bows, using both the right hand and the left in hurling stones and shooting arrows with the bow. They were of Benjamin, Saul's brethren. The chief was Ahiezer. Then Joash, the sons of Shammai, the Gibeathite, Jeziel, and Pelet, the sons of Asmavath, Barasha, and Jehu, the Anatholite, Ishmaiah, the Gibeonite, a mighty man among the 30 and over the 30, Jeremiah, Jahaziel, Johanan, and Jozabad, the Gideathite, Eliziah, Jeremoth, Beliah, Shemariah, and Shephatiah, the Huraphite, Elkanah, Jishshiah, Azarel, Jozer, and Joshabim, the Korahites, and Jola, and Zebediah, the son of Jeroam of Gedor. Some Gadites joined David at the stronghold in the wilderness, mighty men of valor, men trained for battle, who could handle shield and spear, whose faces were like the faces of lions and were as swift as gazelles on the mountains. Ezra the first, Obadiah the second, Eliab the third, Mishmanah the fourth, Jeremiah the fifth, Attiah the sixth, Eliel the seventh, Johanan the eighth, Elzabab the ninth, Jeremiah the 10th, and Mashbanah the 11th. These were from the sons of Gad, captains of the army. The least was over 100, and the greatest was over 1,000. These are the ones who crossed the Jordan in the first month, when it had overflowed all its banks. And they put to flight all those in the valleys to the east and to the west. Then some of the sons of Benjamin and Judah came to David at the stronghold, and David went out to meet them, and answered and said to them, "If you have come peaceably to me to help me, my heart will be united with you. But if to betray me to my enemies, since there is no wrong in my hands, may the God of our fathers look and bring judgment." Then the Spirit came upon Amasiah, chief of the captains, and he said, "We are yours, O David. We are on your side, O son of Jesse. Peace, peace to you, and peace to your helpers, for your God helps you. So David received them and made them captains of the troop. And some from Manasseh defected to David when he was going with the Philistines to battle against Saul, but they did not help him or help them. For the lords of the Philistines sent him away by agreement, saying, He may defeat to his master Saul and endanger our heads. When he went to Ziklag, those of Manasseh who defeated to him or defected to him were Adnah, Jozabad, Zediel, Michael, Jozabad, Eliu, and Zilithiah, captains of the thousands who were from Manasseh. And they helped David against the bands of raiders, for they were all mighty men of valor, and they were captains in the army. For at that time they came to David day by day to help him, until it was a great army, like the army of God. Now these were the numbers of the divisions that were equipped for war, and came to David at Hebron to turn over the kingdom of Saul to him according to the word of the Lord. Of the sons of Judah, bearing shield and spear, 6,800 armed for war. Of the sons of Simeon, mighty men of valor fit for war, 7,100. Of the sons of Levi, 4,600. Joadiah, the leader of the Arianites, and with him 3,700. Zodok, a young man, a valiant warrior, and from his father's house 22 captains. Of the sons of Benjamin, relatives of Saul, 3,000. Until then, the great part of them had remained loyal to the house of Saul. Of the sons of Ephraim, 20,800. Mighty men of valor, famous men throughout their father's house. Of the half tribe of Manasseh, 18,000, who were designated by the name to come and make David king. Of the sons of Issachar, who had an understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, their chiefs were 200, and all their brethren were at their command. Of Zebulun there were 50,000 who went out to battle, expert in war with all weapons of war, stout-hearted men who could keep ranks. Of Naphtali 1,000 captains, and with them 37,000 with shield and spear. Of the Danites, who could keep battle formation, 28,600. Of Asher, those who could go out to war, able to keep battle formation, 40,000. Of Reubenites and Gadites, and half tribe of Manasseh from the other side of the Jordan, 120,000 armed for battle, with every kind of weapon of war. All these men of war, who could keep ranks, came to Hebron with a loyal heart to make David king over Israel. And all the rest of Israel were of one mind to make David king. And they were there with David 3 days, eating and drinking, for their brethren had prepared for them. Moreover, those who were near to them, from as far away as Issachar and Zebulun and Naphtali, were bringing food on donkeys and camels, on mules and oxen, provisions of flour and cakes of figs, and cakes of raisins, wine and oil, and oxen and sheep abundantly, for there was joy in Israel. Psalm chapter 77, verses 16 through 20. The waters saw you, O God. The waters saw you, they were afraid. The depths also trembled. The clouds poured out water, and the skies sent out a sound. Your arrows also flashed about. The voice of your thunder was in the whirlwind. The lightnings lit up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was in the sea, your path in the great waters, and your footsteps were not known. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Proverbs chapter 19, verses 17 through 19. He who has pity on the poor lends to the Lord. He will pay back what he has given. Chasten your son while there is hope, and do not set your heart on his destruction. A man of great wrath will suffer punishment, for if you rescue him, you will have to do it again. Acts chapter 7, verses 1 through 21. Then the high priest said, Are these things so? And he said, Brethren and fathers, listen. The glory of glory appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran. And he said to him, Get out of your country and from your relatives, and come to a land that I will show you. Then he came out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Haran. And from there, when his father was dead, he moved him to this land in which you now dwell. And God gave him no inheritance in it, not even enough to set his foot on. But even when Abraham had no child, he promised to give it to him for a possession and to his descendants after him. But God spoke in this way, that his descendants would dwell in a foreign land, and that they would bring them into bondage and oppress them 400 years. And the nation to whom they will be in bondage I will judge, said God. And after that they shall come out and serve me in this place. Then he gave his covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begot Isaac and circumcised him on the 8th day. And Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs, becoming envious, sold Joseph into Egypt. But God was with him and delivered him out of all his troubles, and gave him favor and wisdom in the presence of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Now a famine and great trouble came over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and our fathers found no sustenance. But when Jacob heard that there was grain in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first, and the second time Joseph was made known to his brothers, and Joseph's family became known to Pharaoh. Then Joseph sent and called his father Jacob and all his relatives to him, 75 people. So Jacob went down to Egypt, and he died, he and our fathers, and they were carried back to Shechem, and laid in the tombs that Abraham brought for a sum of money from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem. But when the time of the promise drew near which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose who did not know Joseph. This man dealt treacherously with our people and oppressed our forefathers, making them expose their babies so that they might not live. At this time Moses was born and was well pleasing to God, and he was brought up in his father's house for 3 months. But when he went out, Pharaoh's daughter took him away and brought him up